Okay, what's going on everyone? Doc here, and today I wanted to show off some 6-star rank 3 Psylocke. So I was able to do this because of the content creator beta, which is the beta provided to content creators like myself by Kabam for testing the new champions and other kind of rank up purposes, just for testing out kind of weird stuff I could never really think to do in my main. So I realized that I had these rank 2 to 3 6-star rank up gems on the beta, and I thought to myself, I've got Black Widow Clairvoyant, I've got Cap Marvel Movie. Those would be some really smart options to kind of rank up to rank 3 and see how well they would do. And then I thought some more and decided to go with the stupid decision of taking Psylocke to rank 3 and seeing how well she would do. In all seriousness, though, I really did kind of want to see what Psylocke could do. I first took up to rank 2 to kind of just get a gauge compared to some other to some rank 5s and also my Black Widow Clairvoyant at rank 2, and I wasn't really impressed. So I instead decided to take her all the way to rank 3, and today I'm going to show you guys a bunch of gameplay for her in Act 6 and a little bit of Labyrinth as well. So as far as I'm aware, this is the only 6-star rank 3 Psylocke gameplay out there. Definitely the only Max Sig 6-star Psylocke gameplay out there. So I wanted to kind of show this off to you guys, kind of see how well she would do, because I've talked a lot about Psylocke many times before. So let's just hop straight into the gameplay. I'll talk more over it as well. I wanted to start off on the 625 Mutant Gate path. This was suggested to me specifically to see about the Punisher, if I could kind of get through him at the very end, because he has increased power gain, and Psylocke, she doesn't normally do a great job of dealing when the opponent has increased power gain. For those of you who don't know, Psylocke is all about controlling the opponent's power. One of the great things about her is that once you have the opponent power locked, they're locked for pretty much the entire fight, and you shouldn't have to worry about them getting any more specials. And that's really good, but honestly, in the current meta of the game, it doesn't seem to be really necessary. So I kind of wanted to see if it would make my life any easier by having these fights locked. So because it is the Mutant Gate path, I was running the full Mutant 5-star crit team here, so Magneto, Cyclops, Storm, and Wolverine actually as well, because I did have him as a 5-star on this beta. I never actually ended up ranking him up, but wanted to focus a little bit on Psylocke because, just wanted to see what she could really do. So this is Do Not Go Gentle. That's the charges you see building up there, and every time I intercept, I get rid of 2 charges. So Psylocke crits for a lot more than I thought she would, and the Mutant Crit team definitely was contributing to that quite a bit. The one problem is, without the Mutant Crit team, and definitely without Class Advantage, as you'll see later on in the video, she really wasn't nearly as impressive by any means. While it was great to lock down the opponent's power, a lot of times the added survivability or other utility would definitely make up for having to dodge a couple specials here and there. Like right there, I do lock Taskmaster. I landed a lot of standing intercepts throughout this video, which is great. They're a really good thing to kind of learn with Psylocke, but in general, I don't think I was as impressed with her damage as I would have liked to be. And I honestly had quite a lot of struggles on some endgame content kind of fighting with her. So at max Sig, the opponent has a 75% reduced ability accuracy when they're at 0 power, in addition to me getting extra crit rate, but it really didn't seem to help me out too much, the crit rate or the ability accuracy reduction. You still see evades and that kind of stuff go through. 75% is not bad. It's only defensive ability accuracy, so it should affect stuff like evades, but I didn't really take her into any fights other than that Taskmaster where that was really in effect, and you saw that Taskmaster still got his evades off. It really didn't matter that I had that. The biggest thing about Psylocke is her power control. And if you kind of can't use that power control for whatever reason, like you'll see against the Punisher at the very end of this path, which is definitely the hardest part of this path. Everything else could be done with pretty much anyone. You'll kind of see where she kind of falls flat. I am going to be relatively more critical of Psylocke because for the longest time I've really liked her. She was my second ever max 4-star. She helped me beat the Collective for the first time. Helped me in my first clear of Act 5 as well, 5.4. But overall, I really was not as impressed as I would have thought that it would have been. I think I was really thinking that as a rank 3, she was going to be getting some really big crits. And I mean, 7,000 is not bad, but you see it dip to like 6,000, 5,500, stuff like that when I don't have class advantage and when I'm not running the full mutant crit team as well like I am here. So this was basically like the best situation I could possibly put her into. And although she was slightly impressive here, outside of it, it really wasn't that bad. And my hit count is still really high. I think a lot of other 6-star rank 3s would be able to beat that. This fight was probably the best. I'm not sure what nodes were increasing my damage, but they were by quite a bit against Kingpin here. And I was critting for quite a lot. One thing you note about Psylocke as well is the lower the opponent's power is, the higher her crit damage is. So the more, so she basically increases her critical damage rating based on the opponent's power, inversely. So the higher it is, the higher the damage when the opponent's at lower power. So that's why you kind of see the damage sometimes fluctuate at the beginning of a fight. If I get a couple crits off at the beginning, it deals some good damage, but then I gotta wait until they're locked. And against opponents like Hyperion, literally any nodes that can give the opponent power, she isn't that good. Stuff like Kinetic Reactor, I'd be totally fine with for the most part. Especially if I'm landing intercepts. But right there, if this Kingpin had Kinetic Reactor, a single blocks hit is enough to get him out of my Enervate lock. It's basically an Enervate. I think it's technically considered a power lock, but right there, I guess that counted for an intercept and got him down. Almost lost there. Do Not Go Gentle is giving me a little bit of damage, but it's not too bad. Full healed up here because this is a poison fight. So normally, if I wasn't testing out Psylocke, I definitely wouldn't take this fight with her. But I knew willpower was going to make me live anyways. I think it's like 30%, something like that. So not awful. And again, I just wanted to continue along this path and see if she could go all the way down this path, and she did for the most part. I also had trouble. I skipped over the Aegon fight on this path as well, because that Aegon had 100% power gain, and locking him down with a Psylocke was an absolute pain. Psylocke's SP1 only drains 25% of the opponent's power. So there's no real marker on the opponent's power bar to kind of know exactly when you're going to power lock them. I do a pretty good job in this video because I'm really experienced with Psylocke. I've been using her for a very long time. But for any average player, kind of just having to figure out where that 25% power mark is really weird. For me, I always kind of think that it's about 2/3 of the way to the first bar of power is what she can drain. And for the most part, that does seem to be correct. But still, I have a lot of times when I would launch the SP1 and then I wouldn't actually get the power lock on them, which was honestly really, really painful and really annoying to kind of have to go back and regain your SP1. Because Psylocke also gains lower power rate. I think it's 20% reduced power rate from hitting the opponent. So here's that Punisher I talked about. This guy's a bit of a real pain. 200% increased power gain, vigor, and also limber. So I can't rely on being able to parry him to launch my special like I normally would. You've seen me do it a couple times when I'm intercepting with it. But I also have to make sure that my SV1, when I launch it, it gives him power. It's not too much power, but it is enough power. It's not like magic specials, which don't generate any power on the opponent. So I have to kind of work that into the 25% power that I'm able to drain, and the 200% increased power gain on this Punisher makes it so much worse. So right here, I think I'm going to take a couple blocked hits, get that parry off. Luckily, Limber, I made sure to avoid parries so that Limber wouldn't give me too bad there. And here we go, I can actually go in. Start up with the 4-hit combo, backdraft, intercept. You've seen me do it a ton already in this video. That is Psylocke's bread and butter. And if I had kept this Punisher locked, I probably could have gotten the one-shot. Once I actually get some crits in here, then the damage actually starts to show. If I'm not critting, you basically don't even notice it on his power bar. And for a 6-star R3, that's really not what you'd expect to see. You'd expect to see at least like a couple, maybe like a percent off every non-crit, but great SP2 there. Did 24,000 on the second hit, and her first hit, her SP2 can deal somewhere in the 35 to 40,000 range on all crits. but my 5-star rank 5 thing can also hit that. And he's rank 5, he's not a 6-star rank 3. Right there, another issue with Psylocke. If you get hit while her psi charges are up and the opponent hasn't gained power in a long time, they will gain a ton of power. And obviously he got all the way up to his SP2 from just a basic combo on me. So another thing about Psylocke is that the opponent is going to get some specials to start. She can't just automatically lock them. She gains her psi charges every time that the opponent reaches a bar of power or she reaches one. And she needs her psi charges to actually get that lock. She needs at least one psi charge. So right here I have a bar of power because I got hit by him a little bit. Normally I need to bait out 2 SP1s from Heimdall before I could launch mine and lock him. But because I got hit, I was only needed to bait out 1. And this is the 6.4 tenacity. This is the hardest fight I'm going to be taking here. And after this, I'm going to kind of see what I can really do on her damage. But again, against this Heimdall, all I'm doing is just 4-hit combo. Sometimes a little less, kind of depending on the situation. If I just want to do like a 3-hit or something like that. But I'm just backdraft intercepting the whole time. And this is something where you got to make sure that the opponent isn't going to be gaining power when you hit into their block as well. I think there might be a node for that. I feel like there is, but now I'm not 100% sure that I say it out loud. That's alright though. And yeah, so her SP2 also has that power lock, which can be really nice. And I do end up using that when I do fight the Hyperion at the end of the 6-2 path that I'm going to be doing next. Which helps out a little bit. It's a pretty long power lock. I wasn't running any synergies in this. Psylocke really doesn't have any big synergies for her. But she has a couple of interesting ones. Mainly the Mojo synergy, which came out recently, where it allows Psylocke to gain an increased duration on her power locks that she places on her SP2. So I guess that could be pretty helpful for kind of controlling the opponent's power even longer. So, like I said, I wanted to kind of just max out that damage. I felt that was really where Psylocke was lacking, where I wasn't really seeing anything special for her. So I decided to completely turn on full suicides. This is 3 of 3 on Liquid Courage and whatever the other one is. I always forget the names of them because I tend to not use them. But right here, I'm on the 626 Mystic Gate Pass. So I've got 4 other Mystics on my team. Again, no synergies for Psylocke, no Mojo there. And I'm just doing the exact same thing. There is nothing really special about Psylocke. Once you get the opponent locked, you just need to know how to backdraft intercept. And that's pretty much what I do for this whole video. There is at the very end of this a clip of me fighting Labyrinth Red Hulk, but I'm not going to show the full thing because it was just 4-hit backdraft intercept for 4 minutes long, and it wasn't even, I didn't even do that much damage. She still averages out to be maybe 1,500 damage per hit, which for a 5-star R3 I expected so much more. She's all about utility, and her utility really isn't as strong as I really hoped that it would be, just because of the fact that you really can't lock any sort of any opponents that gain power outside of just hitting them. Those, for your basic fight, she's totally fine. But once the opponent starts to gain power, like Hyperion, Mordo, stuff like that, she really loses all of her ability to control the opponent's power, and that's where her biggest utility is. So if you can't control the opponent's power, what do? I tried to kind of rely on her damage here to kind of be the saving grace of her, and I guess that's what I'm trying to say is it really wasn't. So this Gamora, again, I've got her locked, got 2 side charges here, and I'm just going to start critting. Doing some pretty good damage. I've got the... I'm below the courage threshold, so I'm gaining, I got 2 points in courage at this, so I'm gaining a little bit of extra attack from that. And obviously I'm just going to do the 4-hit combos with max suicides and just kind of see what her damage does, but really compare it to the when I had the full mutant crit team in class advantage, and it really isn't that much more impressive by any means. Right here, going to land a really good crit and do about 40,000 damage. But again, that's more than achievable with a lot of other champions that have more utility than her as well. So Hyperion here, this is the one I was talking about. I can't lock him like I would every other champion because that power gain will still give him power even when he has that lock on him. It's technically it's much more like an enervate, even though I've always called it a power lock. But it functions much more like an enervate than anything else when the opponent is at 0 power and that she has her side charges. So technically Hyperion would be getting reduced ability accuracy, although I believe that counts as offensive ability accuracy, him gaining his charges, so her defensive ability accuracy reduction wouldn't even help that. So basically what I'm doing here instead, spamming her SP1. If I bring Hyperion below a bar of power, then I get another bar of power myself, which can be a pretty helpful utility. Except it doesn't work when the opponent is at 3 bars. For some reason, if Hyperion got up to his 3rd special, and then I were to drain him, I wouldn't get another bar of power. So I can't just like spam that in the corner forever. So here I decided to save it for the SP2. Since I have a couple side charges, I can use one up to place a power lock on him. It does cost 1 side charge to place a power lock. That's an important thing I haven't mentioned before, which does do a pretty good job of locking him down as well and lowering his damage. Launch off the heavy attack. Another thing I haven't mentioned about Psylocke, I assume most people know kind of what she does by now, but every one of her side charges, you can deal 2,000 damage for them by using them up with her heavy attack. And that's what I did at the end of this Red Hulk video as well. But to be fully honest, I'm not going to show the whole Red Hulk video. I'm just going to kind of show me getting off the power lock, show a couple 4-hit combos, and that's literally all it is for 5 minutes. But it's already been 15 minutes in this gameplay, and she's really nothing impressive, to be fully honest. I really hoped that Psylocke would be. I really hoped that her critical damage would kind of get out of the, just get out of the gutter. I felt like it used to be a lot stronger before diminishing returns were added, but I think because of that, it's kind of been reduced a little bit. And in all honesty, I don't really know if it has ever actually been that good, or if it's just me kind of misremembering it. I always really did like Psylocke. She was kind of released between Archangel and Iceman, who are 2 god-tier mutants. So Iceman is, Archangel, it's another story. Not a big fan of Archangel personally, and I really liked Psylocke because of what she offered compared to other mutants. She was the only mutant power controller at the time. She quite possibly is the strongest mutant power controller off the top of my head, although if I'm wrong, someone's definitely going to correct me in the comments on that. Maybe like Mr. Sinister can do more? I'm not sure. But overall, for what she's supposed to be, mutants tend to be really high special attack damage, really high critical damage, and really she didn't do that. Landed a couple good hits against Red Hulk here, but you can see that he is down 10% and I have done 100 hits. So it was going to take me about 1,000 hits to complete this fight. Really, for a 6-star R3, I expected a ton more, and that's all this fight is now. I'm just gonna 4-hit combo back in and not back out, and this was about this was way longer than I thought it'd be. You get to play aggressive with Psylocke, but really it just kind of becomes a little bit of a pain after a little while. So that's pretty much gonna wrap it up here. This is just kind of an informative, fun video that I could do with the content creator beta. So normal content creator disclaimer, I'm not affiliated with Kabam Marvel anyway, but the content creator beta, the PTR, is provided to content creators like myself to use for testing out the new champions we get every month, like Sasquatch and Guardian, but also for doing rank ups like this now, stuff I couldn't do on my main account, stuff literally no one would ever dare to rank 3 their 6-star Psylocke. But I got to do it and just kind of see how well she would do. So this is the only 6-star rank 3 Psylocke gameplay out there on YouTube. It likely will be for a very, very long time, and I hope it's informative for those of you who are really big fans of Psylocke and kind of looking to see what she can do and kind of some end game content. So that's going to do it for this video. Hopefully you enjoyed. Let me know your thoughts on Psylocke down in the comments. I think she is a prime candidate for a tune-up buff, maybe a little bit of numbers tweaking, maybe give her a, maybe like a Fury buff or something like that when she intercepts the opponent. I've heard that idea, which I thought was really interesting. Something to benefit her damage a lot, because her utility is slightly weaker. Maybe some more power control options, something to lock when the opponent has a power gain buff, stuff like that. That's going to do it for this video. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.